and welcome to round one of the GLR season, and we find ourselves here in Monza with what looks like optimal track conditions. We have a field of GT3 and GT4 cars currently watching the Guinness liveried Ferrari put in his qualifying laps. We've had around 10 minutes of qualifying. I'm going to assume that the GT3 cars are first out on field, and the GT4 cars second. So we'll quickly just run through the grid and introduce you to the current 10 place grid. Number 46 driving the Tangerine Bentley, shall we say, perhaps a fan of Rossi too, in the GT3 Bentley. I personally went to Silverstone last Sunday to watch round 2 of the British GT Championship, and that was absolute joy to be there and to observe the true workings of British GT racing. And it's an absolute pleasure to see how Assetto Corsa has managed to capture the essence of this live event into a simulator. The Bentley was a beautiful car to see live. It surprised me how stable it actually looked, and the sound was incredible. But we're going to move on and introduce you to the one and only GLR seal. Number 55, rocking the BMW M4. Absolutely cracking car. BMW know what they're doing. Perhaps not the best in either field of horsepower or handling, but at the same time, the mixture, I suppose, balance of performance with this car makes it a very difficult car to contend with, to beat, because it is such a good all-rounder. And moving on to, you either love him or hate him. Personally, I love him. Rocking the GLR liveried KTM GT4, number 21. Here we have Mr. Marmite. And with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in qualifying, I'm going to introduce you to next gen Mr. Flicker, rocking number 69, of course. Hey, lovely to see this guy on track. Also driving the BMW M4. And moving on to another GT4 car, here we have Mr. GLR JD, an absolutely fantastic driver. Personally, I'd say I've learned a lot from watching him drive and race. And again, just going back to Silverstone and my experience there, it was really interesting to see the difference between the GT3 and the GT4 cars, because Mercedes was one of those cars, and it's obviously a race car, but when you actually compare that to the GT3 car, the GT3 cars just look ready for war. They're so much wider, the aerodynamics is everywhere, but the GT4 cars are still absolute weapons. It just goes to show you the kind of physical output that you have to put in to these cars, and especially the GT3s. So here we see Mr. JD enter Monza turn 1 and exit turn 2. And I'm not sure we've introduced... Oh no, we did introduce Mr. Magic as he crosses the start-finish line. Number 114 driving the Lexus, we have Mr. Anun. In the GT3 car. And Franklin in the GT3 Ferrari. One of my favourite cars here. I do personally enjoy driving the McLaren. That is also a very, very, very good car. I would say it's a little bit more stable than the Ferrari, but you get the Ferrari down, the extra power that you can get out of that car, I would say would just tip the McLaren, especially in some circuits, but you know, driving on the limit is just that. You're driving on the limit. So, and my main man Mikey, here he is. I'm just gonna quickly jump into my YouTube because interact with all you lovely people. Cinema mode. Hello Cordell, my brother. I hope you are well. Moving on to number 14 in the GT4 BMW, we have GLR racer, another fantastic driver, so I am very excited to see the unfoldings of Monza. So as we enter the final 90 seconds of qualifying, I'm just going to get myself sorted, so I'm just going to go off mic and I will be back shortly for the beginning of round 1 GLR Esports Monza. Okie doke. So, as we enter the final laps of qualifying in the GT3 cars, we have, I'm going to call him Next Gen, with a 149, very close to a 148, which is awesome. In second place, we have Anun with only a 10th behind in the Lexus. Magic Mike, rocking my favourite car, the Ferrari with the GLR livery 511, currently on his last lap and also 3/10 behind the leader Next Gen. And Mikey now currently in 4th position, my favourite position, 1.7 behind Next Gen. Franklin is 6 behind Next Gen, and Next Gen. Oh, we have 2 Next Gens. So we have Next Gen Lager and Next Gen Bean. So Next Gen Bean is just entering the pits now. 9 seconds. behind the GT3, but also the leader of GT4. So Seal, what are we, 4 tenths behind Mr. Bean. And GLR Racer, another 8 tenths behind Seal. 6 tenths Marmite, and JD another 6 or 8 tenths. So as we enter the final 75 seconds of maximum wait time, with 2 cars out on track, Mikey and GLR JD, who is exiting the Parabolica. And that puts that in position, so we just have Mikey, who has finished his lap, bringing him in 4th position, with a 1.7 behind the next gens. Very fast lap, 149.1. Okie doke. So thank you to everyone who is watching this video live and or as a recorded video. Just waiting for controls back. Okay. So as the drivers now line up on the grid for their formation lap, which each driver wants to be maximizing this time. The only thing between you and the road is your tires, and getting them to optimum temperature of 27.5-ish is going to give them the best start for round 1 of GLR Esports race. And as we all know, we have Monza turn 1, which can always lead to some very interesting events, but GLR Esports prides itself on its members. We don't tolerate any negativity, and we can hear now that the cars are lighting up their engines. Around 500 horsepower in the GT4s, up to nearly 600 horsepower in the GT3s. 1200 to 1300 kilograms. And as we enter the final 1 seconds of round 1 Monza, the drivers will be beginning the formation lap, and the Bentley there first to drive off, followed by the Lexus, rest of the drivers following up on grid. Oh, for some reason I can't back out to the garage for now, but that's okay. We're in 4th position with Mikey. As we enter the Curva Grande long right-hander, which you can keep flat in both cars. Oh, we've already had a little bit of an accident there with, I'm not sure who that was. For some reason I have got no controls, so I can't actually back out. So I'm going to hope that driver can catch back up. But this is it, and this is why we have the formation lap, because we want to increase as much temperature as we can to the tyres for purposes that you have just seen. Mikey side by side with Magic Mike. Also with a blue visor, blue chrome visor. I'm gonna say his favorite color is most certainly blue. And as we watch these drivers now enter Ascari, or rather coming up towards Ascari, continuing to warm their tyres. I do hope whoever that was who span out is okay. And under the bridge the drivers go as they all now begin to enter Ascari. So we're going to stay on board with Mikey for the first lap, and then hopefully Assetto Corsa will give me the controls back. I'm sure it will. But this is an absolutely beautiful sight of colours and thousands of horsepower, getting ready to kick off round 1 of the GLR esports season. And we see all drivers line up now. Unfortunately I cannot see the Lexus, so that's I don't know that he's been able to catch back up. Can't quite see him in the back. That's not very good news, but regardless, we're going to carry on. And drivers now getting ready for that infamous green, 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 waiting for the red lights to drop, as all drivers are now entering the Rettifilio Tribune over the start-finish line. I'm sure the beats per minute are increasing in each of these drivers' heartbeats right now. And it's green, green, green as all drivers are flat on the floor. Thousands of horsepower racing down to Monza turn 1. We're going to see the events unfold here as Mikey is on the left. We've got Magic Mike now on the outside. Bentley taking a defensive line. The M4 taking the outside line of the Ferrari of Franklin. And it looks like Magic has taken first position in the opening laps of Monza round 1. Mikey tucked firmly within the slipstream of the Bentley. So we're just going to stay on board with Mikey now as all drivers exit the Curva Grande. Rettifilio. And Lesmo 1. Coming up into Lesmo 2, the Bentley tucked firmly behind the Ferrari GT3, and the Ferrari driven by Franklin is tucked firmly behind the blue McLaren driven by Mikey. Magic Mike taking a defensive line there, the Bentley getting as much of an exit speed as he can for the long straight up towards the Parabolica. Both drivers look like they've maximised the exits there, so it's going to be a good run onto the Curva Parabolica. Driver gone wide there, and as the drivers enter the Curva Parabolica, we have Magic Mike in P1, followed by the Bentley in P2, and P3 podium position currently number 45 McLaren GLR Mikey. And as we enter Monza turn 1, it looks like Magic Mike has overcooked his braking position, probably under pressure of track position. So I'm just going to quickly... Yes, we can. Okie doke. So now we get to jump on board with the leader of the lap, who has taken his leading position back. Through an error in the Ferrari. Both drivers taking as much exit as they possibly can. This is going to be a very interesting race between these two up front. If they're going to be putting pressure on each other, I'm going to assume that's going to open up opportunities for Mikey and Franklin. And as we jump on now with Next Gen Bean leading the GT4 class in the number 69 M4. Followed in quick pursuit by the main man Neil the Seal, as he is taking a defensive line into Parabolica. Looks like... okay, he's let the Lexus take the outside line, as that is the GT3 car. So this is going to be interesting watching events unfold for Rnd1 here, driving the Lexus. Look at that aerodynamics. You're going to see the difference here between the GT3 and GT4 cars. Hopefully these drivers are both aware of each other. It looks like Rnd1 has taken this opportunity to make sure no negativities happen, and he will pass the M4 through the Curva Grande on the outside. Looks like he's already made that position. He's going to tuck himself back in to get that racing line. As he enters Della Roggia, followed by the leading GT4, followed quickly with Seal and GLR Racer, followed by the beautiful looking KTM. And bringing up the rear is GLR JD. Still doing an absolutely cracking job keeping up with the pack. This game, if it's going to do anything, is going to bring out absolutely all your positives and negatives of driving, and it looks like each one of these drivers are doing a cracking job. Okay, so we're going to jump back on board now with P2. Magic Mike, who is absolutely in slipstream range, just both hard on the brakes as they enter Monza turn 1. Clipping the apex. Magic Mike just avoiding the sausage there, so perhaps he's got a little bit of a better run. A mile or two per hour extra as we enter Curva Grande. Is it Curva Grande? I'm going to be calling it Curva Grande, and entering Della Roggia. A corner I struggle personally to master on the exit, but the theory is to straighten the car up as quick as possible, get on the gas. Both drivers pushing these cars to the limit. Tyres are going to be on maximum adhesion, and with 33 minutes left of the race, we have the leading two, Next Gen Lager and Magic Mike, pushing that Ferrari as hard as possible now, with a 1-1-1 behind Next Gen. And entering Ascari. This is a very important corner leading to a... You can very easily overcook it there, but you also want to be maximizing your throttle. So if you have to come off, obviously that's a few miles an hour that you will suffer towards the end of this long straight as we enter the Parabolica. Mike taking as much of the track as he can use there. I don't know whether there was even a millimeter of coating left So he is pushing that Ferrari to its limits without going past the limit, which is beautiful to see. Quickly jumping on board with Next Gen as we enter turn 1. Both drivers doing an awesome job. No matter what position it is with the two drivers, the leading driver will always feel most pressure because you have the most to lose. You've got no one to follow, and you also have no slipstream. So let's jump on board with Mikey as he traverses his way through not Curva Parabolica, Curva Grande. And now the Della Roggia looks like he has gapped the Ferrari of Franklin, with plenty of time left to go in this race. Anything can happen. I do believe that he may be using a controller for this race as well. I think all of the drivers are using wheels. If I've got that wrong, I do apologise, Franklin. But if you are using a controller, then you are doing an absolutely cracking job. Good job, sir. And I can't believe my eyes. Here we have Mr. Rnd1 with the Ferrari firmly in his sights, maximizing all of that traction, horsepower as he exits Ascari there. It's only going to be a matter of time before he is side by side with the flaming red Ferrari, and again maximizing as much of that power as he can. Is he going to cut the corner to the right or stay left? He stays left. Surprising. You can save 1,000th if you keep to the right, which over a 30-minute race is, you know, potentially position determining. And as he exits Rettifilio and enters Curva Grande, just touching the grass there. He's had to do that, that's fine. You do get a certain amount of track limit warnings before you are either disqualified and or have to do a pit drive-through. But if anything, that just goes to show how much this driver is pushing that car. He's made the mistake at the beginning. We all do these things. It frustrates us, we're human, but it looks like he's composing himself. He's trying to maximize that track width, hence the tiny little slide there. There again is maximizing that track width. He's cutting as much of that corner as possible, keeping the car as straight as he can. He wants to be getting on that throttle as quick as he can there as he exits Ascari. And Magic Mike still car lengths behind Next Gen Lager, driving the 46 Bentley. He is absolutely going to be applying pressure, and you can see the stresses of the ceramic brake discs being put through their paces now, as 12 minutes of round 1 have gone by. We still have Next Gen leading round 1 of the GLR esports season, followed in very quick succession of GLR Magic Mike. You can't change the camera, Cordell, in this view. You have to go into drive, which means I've got to keep backing out, unfortunately. And if I go into drive, I can't change drivers like this. So it's you can't change cameras like this, but you can change drivers. And then you go into drive, you could change cameras, but you can't change drivers. Something Assetto Corsa needs to sort out, but hey. And Mikey now 15 seconds behind the very quick next-gen lager with the 1:49.1 qualifying time. Now followed by Rnd1, who has taken position of Franklin in the Ferrari. Who is now bringing up the rear of the GT3 pack. Entering turn 1 Monza. And Seal now entering Curva Parabolica as the leading driver of the GT4s. Is just at the end of the TV camera there. And he is entering turn 1 Monza. Followed by Seal in the 55 M4, followed by GLR Racer in the 14 M4, and GLR JD and GLR Marmite look like they're having a battle in the KTM and Mercedes. Two very, very different cars, so this is going to be an interesting one watching these two battle it out. I'm going to assume that KTM is extremely nimble, but the Mercedes is just probably going to tap it on power. But corners like that, the KTM can definitely have an advantage to get side by side with the Mercedes. And Magic Mike now has taken first position. So I'm having to look up at the times there at the top left, and noticed Magic Mike in P1, now followed by Next Gen Lager in P2 in the Bentley. Not quite sure what's happened there. We'll find out at the end of the race. It'd be nice if we could just rewind time there. Assetto Corsa, you're listening. Just like GT Sport. Hint, hint. But again, this is leading up to be a very interesting race, because whoever is going to win this round 1 at Monza is obviously going to be the leading racer of the GLR esports season, and these points are valuable as we come to the closing rounds of the season. So very interesting events there. We have Rnd1 and Mikey. So Rnd1, he's made his mistake at the beginning. He's obviously very keen. We're going to jump on board now with Rnd1 as he is following Mikey in the blue McLaren GT3. It looks like Rnd1's definitely got the speed there. He wants to be getting as much exit speed there, not really trying to take the undercut. So he's probably not quite got that run that he wanted. So is he either going to take a little look here? I hope not. Probably just get a better run out if possible. He's thinking about it. He wants that position. Mikey running wide. Is he giving that position to Rnd1 to go on the inside line? Yes, he is. That's very kind of Mikey. And exiting the Parabolica, entering turn 1 Monza. Oh, we've had another turn of events. We've had another turn of events in P1 and P2. Magic Mike now, 6 seconds. God, we need 3 streaming commentators with different camera angles. I don't know what's happened, but I'm going to assume a very big slide, maybe not a spin-off, but a slide where he has had to regain traction, and that has given him a loss of 8 seconds as he had a lead of 2. Entering Ascari now, cutting as much of that corner as possible. You can see he's maximising as much of the track here as he exits Ascari. He's pushing that car to its limits, a little bit too much there, but again, it's one of those difficult corners. And you know, if you get it wrong, then that just happens, but you've got to keep it pinned. We all do it. But again, very interesting events here, but that's given a 7-second gap to Next Gen, which is going to reduce that pressure. As Next Gen is now entering 10 laps of round 1, still with a solid 7-second gap now between Magic. I'm sure Magic will get his head down. If Next Gen makes a mistake, it's an instant game changer. Let's have a little look at Magic's time here at the top left. 7.3, so he's just lost 3/10. So Next Gen is running an absolutely solid race here, and none now, quite a ways from Magic Mike, but absolutely solid race here by him. If anything, this is just proving his worth, his skills, and also getting some points. And if anything happens to any of the other drivers, he's going to capitalize and gain these points. Now, number 46, right, so we're going to jump on board with the leader now as he chases down the rear of the GT4 pack. And it looks like there's a little bit of a fight going on there as well. And it looks like Marmite's gone into the pits, and GLR Racer. So the pit window is obviously opened. Drivers are now taking advantage of this. In this game, when you pit, how you pit, it all makes a big difference. It really does. It is not always the same timing. I don't know the parameters and why, but it changes the game. So the Mercedes in the GT4 has stayed out. His tactics are a little bit different. We can see the Ferrari there exiting turn 1 in Monza as the Bentley is coming up side by side to the GT4 Mercedes, and the GT4 is taking as much of the track as he can, and he's going to maximize as much of this slipstream as he can before the Bentley inevitably pulls away. And it most certainly looks like that is the case already. And the Ferrari just exiting that corner. Can't just see the next car ahead, but that is just, I've just realised that's because that car pitted, which was Marmite. So I'm going to assume that he's going to be seeing Marmite very, very soon. Well, 44 seconds ahead of Next Gen in track position. And the leader now entering the pits as Magic Mike in the Ferrari stays out. which now means that Magic is leading this race as we are in the 12th lap here at round 1 Monza. And obviously this is where things start to get interesting, because obviously all drivers are going to have to pit. We've got different tactics here. Tyre wear plays a huge role. So we're going to see how events unfold here at this very hot day at Monza, with under 17 minutes of the race to go before the final warning lap. And you can hear the drivers on the right side of this track, which is a beautiful sound. And Rnd1 looks like he has taken this opportunity to pit and is now exiting the pits. And that looked like Marmite. So this is all getting a little bit confusing with track position with regards to the pits. As it stands, we have a fairly spaced out position on track, but that is because the pit window is open. And Rnd1 now in the very powerful GT3. Hopefully Marmite has seen him in the GT4, which he has. He's given him that space as he powers through the exit. Watching Marmite in the very nimble KTM. Perfect line there. Very stable. But you can just see the difference in power now, as he is hard on the brakes into Ascari. It's going to be a very interesting race for Rnd1, especially with events that have unfolded. Absolutely anything can happen, and this guy is proving to be a solid racer. Entering the Parabolica now, we've got a blue flag being waved as he exits the Parabolica, maximizing that track width. Is he going to cut the corner to the right? Not really. Okie doke, so leading this race is old Frankie in the red Ferrari GT3 car. Be nice to see one of those on the British GT grids. Followed by the, I guess, real leader of this race here at Monza in the Tangerine Bentley, his next gen lager, as he chases down the GT4 M4, entering Ascari. And so next gen firmly taking that position. Power of the Bentley, these very long straights here at Monza, very popular for the F1 cars with the very high output of downforce and horsepower. Which puts us with Magic Mike currently in P3, realistically P2 of this round 1 GLR season. He's running an absolutely solid race. I mean, just looking at the way he took that corner was just almost absolute perfection. It just goes to show how well next gen lager is really doing. Now taking that position as Franklin is in the pits. And Rnd1 now not too far behind Magic. So we'll see how these events unfold. I don't know that he'll quite have the time to catch Magic up, as he is quite a bit way down the track. But after his little accident, he's done absolutely spot on. And side by side now, as we go under the bridge. Hard on the brakes, cutting as much track as we can to the left. Through a scourie we go. Hard on the power as we exit. Letting all those close to 600 horsepower sing as we come up to the final corner, the Curva Parabolica. And he's running a very good race here. So we're just going to jump on board now with the GT4s. Currently leading the GT4s we have Next Gen Bean, who is following Rnd1. Oh no, sorry, that was Magic. Rnd1 is following Next Gen, so it's not going to be long until we see Rnd1 side by side with Next Gen Bean. So as he exits the Curva Grande now, we follow on board with GLR Seal in the number 55 M4. Not far behind at all. It's a lot easier to make a mistake in a GT3 car with all the extra power and aero, because once it slips, it really slips. But nevertheless, we are 9 seconds behind the leader of the GT4s. Let's quickly say hello to Mikey as he enters. Probably the most difficult corners of Monza, in my opinion. Which means we jump on board with GLR Racer, who is very... Oh no, I thought Seal was just in ahead, but I'm looking at the wrong one. We want to be on Next Gen, who is following Rnd1. Through the Parabolica goes the number 69 M4. Keeping the BMW club reel and jumping on board with what I think is the most beautiful looking GT4 car, number 21, GLR Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. Hard on the brakes. Just on the grass there, but that just shows that he's still pushing this car. He's maximising the track widths and trying to get the best times he can, and like I keep mentioning, absolutely anything can happen in these races. And GLR JD now bringing up the rear, quite a way behind Marmite. So I think we've had a little bit of an incident there, because I think he was just leading Marmite previously. So everyone's doing an absolutely solid race here. Everyone's in the flow of things. We're going to jump on board with the podium pack now as we enter the final 7 minutes of this race. We can't quite see P2, Magic Mike, but we'll stay on board now. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of the number 511 Ferrari. I'd say these drivers are settling down in a very nice flow. It's going to be interesting to watch events unfold here. And next race will have a larger grid. And we are very close to getting a full grid, which is awesome. If you have been enjoying this race, you've been enjoying watching the events unfold, please subscribe to the TMK Racing 444 channel and also the GLR Guinness Lounge Racing League YouTube channel, who I am working very closely with. Enjoying doing the commentary for GLR, watching the group grow. So if you are interested in getting involved in a group, both TMK and GLR are open. Very friendly, we don't tolerate any negativity. We have stability control off. We want the races to be as realistic as possible, being driving fanatics. And Magic Mike has made up over a second now to next gen. I'm jumping on board with Mikey now. Chasing down the GT4 M4. He's going to take the inside or outside, he's indicating, which is very good of Seal in the 55 M4, giving him enough space as they traverse their way through Ascari. Mikey hard on the gas, as you can hear there. Beautiful driving, can't fault it. Waving goodbye to Seal there as he very respectfully indicated his intention to Mikey. Which means as we enter the final laps here of round 1, we are going to jump on board with the podium pack after we see Mikey traverse Monza turn 1. Hard on the brakes at about 160, easily lifting off, maximising track width, and boom, hard on the gas. Absolutely beautiful. So we're just going to back out into the race, quickly jump on board with Magic. Who is... He's made up another second, so that's over 2 seconds he's made now. As we enter the final 4 minutes, you can see him as he enters the Curva Parabolica now, and there he goes. Magic Mike is going to want to keep his head down. Again, mistakes can happen. Hard on the gas, feathering as much of that traction as he possibly can. Does he keep it to the right? Does indeed. And nearly another second now, so that's very interesting because Magic Mike is now 6.3 behind next gen, so he's nearly up to 3 seconds. So with 3 minutes of the lap to go plus the final remaining lap, does that mean Magic has got what it takes to take back that podium position? This is going to be a very interesting finale as we finish the round 1 of GLR Esports here, as we are on board with Anun, pushing the car as hard as he can, taking the track limits to the maximum. In he goes, he's just avoiding that sausage, again just avoiding that sausage, maximising the track widths, hard on the gas. Want to be turning the car in a little bit here on the brakes, feathering through, and then boom on the accelerator. taking as much of the track limits as he can there, which is what we need to be doing. He's just touched the curb there, which is a little bit of an elevated curb. You can see it unsettles the car with these very hard suspension. Let's just quickly jump back on board now with Magic, 6.5 seconds behind the leader. So we have Next Gen Bean, who has just been overtaken by Mikey, it looks like, leading the GT4 pack. And with 2 minutes to go, absolutely anything can unfold. Keeping my eyes on the left side of the leaderboards here. So Seal in the number 55 car is 12 seconds behind Next Gen Bean. So I do know that Seal is a cracking driver. So to say that Next Gen is 12 seconds ahead, you know, hats off to you, Mr. Bean. And following Seal is GLR Racer, absolute legend, in the 3M4s on track here at Monza. Under the bridge he goes as we hear the acoustics change. Hard on the brakes into Ascari, cutting as much of that corner as we can. Bit of sideways action. I would imagine the tyres are very low here. We're going to enter the final minute of the race now. So we've got Marmite coming up to Ascari in my favourite GT4 car. Yeah, tyres are definitely starting to give way as we enter the final laps here. And GLR JD, you can hear the V8 roar here in that GT4 Mercedes. So we have 6.8 seconds. Gap between 6.3 now, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.7 between that P1 podium position with 20 seconds left to go. Magic Mike is exiting the Curva Parabolica, which I'm going to assume Next Gen has already crossed the lap. So this is now the final lap of round 1 GLR Esports. And we will jump on board now with Magic Mike. As he chases down the GT4 on this final lap. Of a very exciting, incredible turn of events. Hats off to Mr. Anand, who's done a cracking job. You can see the Bentley there, as he is just entering the first of the 2 corners. So we're going to jump on board. The Bentley. As he brings this Bentley home. An absolutely cracking event. You could just see the Ferrari behind the GT4 car there. And as we enter the final corner of round 1 GLR Esports, we have Next Gen Lager bringing it home. Do we get a flash? Yes, we do. Congratulations, good sir. Over the start finish he goes. It's a very well-deserved lap. It was very awesome to watch him and Magic Mike battle it out, and both of them making mistakes. As Magic Mike crosses that start finish, let's just jump on board with Anand now as he brings it in 3rd position. Absolutely fantastic work by Anand, who was the driver who made that mistake at the beginning. He has proved his worth, and I am looking forward to him driving the GT3 Lexus in round 2 of the GLR Esports season. And we're on board now with Mikey. as he is bringing it home in the blue McLaren GT3. Very well driven, good sir. It's lovely to watch you drive and be on track with you. And he crosses the start finish, which means we have Franklin in the 44 car, but it looks like number 69 in the next gen is next to cross the start finish in the GT4. Yes, he is, followed by number 55 Seal exiting Curva Parabolica, bringing home second position in the GT4s, followed by GLR Racer taking that podium position on his round one here, giving it a flash. Well done, good sir. And Franking crossing that start finish line, which leaves us with the last driver, GLR Marmite, on his KTM as he crosses the start finish line there. Absolutely cracking race. I have thoroughly enjoyed that. Congratulations to all drivers who have taken part. Anyone who has watched live and will watch this as a video, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. It only helps me as a YouTuber grow. I do hope you have enjoyed this stream. This is obviously one of the first streams that we have done properly with commentary. So, good lad, Marmite. Good lad. So if there's anything that you want to see, like what Marmite's doing right now, which honestly is an 11 out of 10 effort, please comment below. This is, like I say, the first... I can't see you. This is the first proper commentary and sort of GLR esports session. So anything that you would like to see improved, please comment below. And again, if you're looking to join the community, GLR Discord, Guinness Lounge Racing is open. You are welcome to join that. Everyone is lovely, friendly. We don't tolerate any negativity. Everyone is an awesome driver just looking to enjoy themselves being on track, to respect others, and improve the racecraft that is motorsport. Obviously, I also have my own channel, Instagrams, Facebook, TMK Racing 444, where I just love driving. If you're going to see me do videos, it's just going to be things I enjoy. I think just the love of driving is where it's at. So to be able to watch a grid of drivers battle it out on track, watching events unfold as they have, to be able to commentate on that is an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to commentate for GLR. So please join both GLR and TMK Racing 444 to keep up to date with future events, and to also take part in our races. Obviously we meet up outside of these events to drive, have a laugh, and we also play other games like GT Sport, a little bit of Wreckfest I've noticed in GLR, and TMK Racing. You know, I'm a big fan of Rally. I do want to get a bit of Wreckfest on the go, if I'm honest, just because it's a funny old game. But I'm going to wrap this up, so thank you to absolutely everyone who has watched. Again, please like and subscribe. It only helps me as a new YouTuber. Congratulations to all the drivers on track. Forgot his name. Next Gen, the leader in the Next Gen Lager in the Tangerine Bentley, making 2 to 3 mistakes. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video myself. Made 2 or 3 mistakes there, which cost him position to Magic Mike, who ran an absolutely solid race. You can't take that away from him, but unfortunately had a couple of mistakes. And again, that's motorsport. You're driving, you're pushing to the limits, you're driving with other drivers. That's what we're doing, that's what we love. We're doing this because we enjoy it. Third position was the Lexus in the 114, driven by Rnd1. Very well done, good sir. I saw you spin out, and I thought, oh no, I was really hoping for you to catch up to the start finish, but I don't know what happened. I don't know whether you just were, you couldn't get past a certain speed, so that meant that you couldn't catch up in time. But regardless, you were very respectful, making your way back through the GT4 grid. Absolutely awesome driver. So I'm really looking forward to seeing round two, good sir. I believe Mikey bringing home my favourite position in P4, if I'm correct. You're going to have to... okay, I can't do that. Yep, bringing in P4. Running an absolutely solid race. Mikey, you're one of my favourites, mate. It's an absolutely pleasure having you around, and I look forward to seeing you on track next. And I believe the remaining of the GT3 class was number 44, my second favourite number, Mr. Frankin. New to the GLR and TMK Discords. You've run a solid race, mate. I believe I heard you were on controller, which, if you were... You've ran... a solid race. What's going on? Okay, you've ran a solid race. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you to everyone that has watched, and we will see you for round 2 of the GLR Esports series. Goodbye.